Hello, everybody out there. I miss Tell It Like It Is. Tell it like it is. I miss Tell It Like It Is. Tell it like it is. I miss Tell It Like It Is. Tell it like it is. I miss Tell It Like It Is. I'ma tell it like it is. Ooh, I hope everybody out there is doing wonderful. Cause as always, I am doing wonderful. Okay. Today's topic is going to be discovering the new you. Discovering the new you. Miss Tell It Like It Is, I look at everyone's life like a book. Okay? And each chapter in that book represents a phase that each individual lived. So each chapter in that whole book represents life. Your life, my life. And each chapter represents a phase that each one of us lived in our lives. Some of our chapters in our lives were fair. Some of our chapters in our lives were great. And some of our chapters in our lives was horrible. But nevertheless, each chapter represented a phase that we went through in our lives. And when that chapter has ended, then that chapter is supposed to be closed. And then you're supposed to move on to the next chapter in that book, which represents the next phase in your life. And each chapter or phase in your life, Miss Tell It Like It Is, feels like you're supposed to rediscover the new you. But the problem is, most people cannot discover the new them. Why? Because they never ever close the previous chapters of their lives. And then they wonder, even I have wondered, why am I stagnated? Why? You can't go forward until you stop living in your past. A lot of people say you have to know your past in order to get to your present, in order to move on to your future. And that's true. But you also have to learn how to close the chapters of your life and leave them in your past in order to discover the new you. And for some of you, this is really hard because some of the chapters in your life, you were on top of the world. You may have been the life of the party. You may have had all these friends, so-called friends around you. And now you don't have that anymore. You may have been pounds thinner. You may have looked totally different. And now you put on weight. You may not look like you used to look. You don't have those friends or associates around you that you thought you were going to take in the next chapter of your life. And you are going through a crisis. You're going through a mental crisis. So instead of you facing that crisis, you choose to live in your past. And when you live in your past, you are not living in this present reality. So if you cannot live in this present reality, you cannot discover the new you. But when you wake up and realize, hey, who I used to be, what I used to do is not working for me anymore, then you will come to realization that you need to close the previous chapters to your life in order to face reality, in order to discover the new you. And discovering the new you is a beautiful thing. It can be a scary thing because you may feel lost, where you may have been, the life of the party. Everybody seemed to love you. The bodybuilder, the sex symbol, and you're not there. You're not that anymore. You may just feel like if you face reality, that you mentally wouldn't be able to handle it. But it's always best to face reality so you can discover the new you. And discovering the new you is discovering your desires, having short-term and long-term goals, learning how to enjoy life without having to have a lot of people always around you. Because whether you know it or not, and this has happened to me too in my past, you can actually use having a lot of people around you like a security blanket, like Lionel and Charlie Brown. Like when he had that blanket, that was his security blanket. You can actually use people to be your security blanket, to make you feel important, to make you feel good. And you get wrapped up in their world till you don't even have a world of your own. But then when these people have moved on, you don't know these people, you don't see these people anymore, then you're standing there looking like, now what do I do? And Miss Tell It Like It Is go tell you what you need to do. Rediscover the new you. And some of us, we're workaholics. We don't know how to enjoy life. That's Miss Tell It Like It Is. I'm going to tell you the truth. I know I am learning how to enjoy life. But usually I'm a workaholic. I'm about family and taking care of business. And I have fun every now and then. But I am learning how to live. Okay? And some people say, well, when you get a certain age, you should know how to live. No. Not when you lived your life for everybody else. Not when you lived your life with so many people surrounding you, you could never learn yourself. So some of us are in a stage where we are rediscovering the new us, the real us. And I'm saying us because I'm including me. I'm including Miss Tell It Like It Is, okay? And some days it could feel so great, and some days it could be scary. Because you know the thing that can be scary about learning the real you or discovering the new you is because you don't have all those people around you anymore. And for some of you, you get lonely. I used to get lonely. I don't get lonely anymore. I'm gonna be honest. I used to have so many people in my life and be involved in so many people's situations. It made me feel so important till I was more into solving other people's problems than I was solving mine. And now I'm in a stage, I've passed the stage of loneliness. But some of you are in that stage where, because you don't have all these people around you anymore, you're feeling lonely. And you're scared. But it's okay. Because it's just a time to rediscover yourself. To discover the new you. And when you get hobbies, when you get goals, short-term and long-term goals, when you learn how to just stop worrying, stop fretting, and learn how to relax, and when you learn how to, just leave things in God's hands, then slowly you begin to rediscover the new you. And in some cases, in many cases, the real you. Because how can you get to know yourself if you always have people around you taking up your time, taking up your space? Now, it's different with family because a lot of us have kids, some of you have husbands, some of you have wives. That's different. But I'm talking about single people. I'm talking about people as a whole, whether you're married, married couple, but I'm referring to single people. That every night you may not have that mate to lay in the bed with you. You may look over and all you have is a teddy bear. Whereas in the past, you may have had someone to lay next to. The reality hits you. I'm single. I don't have a mate anymore. Damn. What do I do with myself when the person I once had in my life was my world, my everything? You know what you do? You become your own everything. You begin to meditate. Begin to get in a quiet place. And for some of you, because you were such a party animal, for some of y'all, it's like a total withdrawal. Like you having a drug withdrawal. I've seen it. I've seen it in some of my associates in the past where they were just the life of the party, and they just wore the best of clothes. Their life was just flowing. Financially wise, they had no worries, and then they went from way up here to down here. And I seen one of my friends just really, had a mental meltdown, like really. And I witnessed this meltdown. They were just sitting in the dark. I turned on the light, and this person was literally like this. I said, "Oh, what's wrong? You okay?" And this person, which I say no names, okay, began to tell me what was going on with him. He began to tell me At one time, he had a 5-bedroom house. At one time in his life, he had nothing but friends around him. At one time in his life, he had nice cars. He had nice clothes. And he lost his job and he lost everything. He began to tell me he had a food full of a refrigerator full of food. And then he began to tell me, and now when he opens his fridge, he barely has anything in it. And he told me he couldn't handle it. And I told him it was time for him to close that chapter off in his life and rediscover who he was at that present moment. And that even though he had a catastrophe to happen in his life and he lost everything, that it wasn't impossible to get what he had back and more. But he had to stop living in the past. He had to close those chapters in his life in order to live in reality, which was his present, so he could rediscover the new him and be able to move on to his future. And he said that made so much of sense. Thank you. And today he's doing pretty good for himself. But the whole point I'm trying to make is when you learn to close those chapters in your life in the past and you learn to live for now, you will have so much more peace. You will have so much more joy. And yes, there will be fear. But when you face your fear, you can overcome it. But you cannot overcome your fear unless you face it. So no matter what you were in your life, whether it was good or bad, just know those chapters are shut. They're sealed. You can never relive that again. All you can do is live for now and rediscover the new you and the more positive and improved you. And it is not impossible. And it doesn't matter what age you are. Because as long as you're alive, you're forever learning, you're forever growing. And it's your choice if you want to grow into a better and improved person. Happiness is a choice. Happiness is not a privilege. It's a choice. You can choose to be happy, or you can choose to be sad and miserable, reminiscing on a past that has passed and gone. Saying that, I must tell it like it is, and today I told it like it is. You all have a wonderful, wonderful day or night. Stay positive, have peace and love. I'm out. Tulu.